Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEX Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut.
Clovercrest Media Group presents a CMG podcast, Keys to the City.
Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know.
Crossed up by Kobe, little floater to Shaq, and then Shaq goes like this, and the rest is history. Pay attention. Don't tell me what to do, devil woman.
But
speaking of those Lakers, hold on. But I didn't make my. I said Denver's gonna win. Yeah, you did. You said that.
There's no other show like that. Clovercrest is doing great things right now.
Streaming everywhere.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is his availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach of college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I'm your host, Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio. And it was a big night at the XL Center, a really big night for the UConn Huskies, getting that huge win over the Villanova Wildcats, 71 to 69. But just a huge win, great night at the XL Center. But Justin was there to see it, and I'm gonna let you first talk about it.
Yeah, that was incredible. I don't know which one, that was right up there. I don't remember if you remember the game 2011. It was actually UConn Nova over like a decade ago. It was another great game. This is right up there. For down 4 there, 69-65 with 39 seconds left. You could play that clip over, 39 times, 99 times over again, and Nova probably wouldn't do their 99 times. For Nova to kind of lose that game, and kind of miss a street over there down the stretch, the jump ball, which probably should have been a foul. And then also, Tyler Polley hitting that big three with like 15 seconds left. He caught that thing. He didn't catch it cleanly. He did not, he was off balance again. And Keami Young did an excellent job there drawing that play up for Polley. They ran a couple nice sets for him. Even Jordan Hawkins they ran a couple nice sets for. And I've never heard the XL Center that loud before. And I know there's been a lot of people kind of, out there about, should they just play at Gamble instead of just get rid of XL? But when you could fill it up like that, it makes a huge difference. And again, the XL Center was great last night, full house, unbelievable win, and for like a guy like Polley and Whaley, and I think Polley talked about it in his post-game, press conference saying, again, the last time Nova was here, or, last time, at the XL Center, in 2018, and him and Willie are freshmen. They lost by 22 points. And, there was a point too in that game that started the second half. They went on like a 6-0 run, and they start doing the UConn chant on 16. And that's kind of when I was like, this program is at the lowest it's ever been before. or in a long time. And to be back now, to be back and to win that game, UConn's getting back, and that night was huge. Such a great atmosphere last night. Impressive win again. Everything that happened again. Kiami Young deserves a lot of credit for that game. Because I thought when Hurley got ejected out of that game, I thought this dude was gonna go sideways. I figured they're gonna lose by 10, 15 points. Nova's gonna take over, and that was that. But Kiami Young, and he's a total 180 coaching style differences. He's a calming guy, and I think that really helped. Hurley, I know we've addressed it a couple of times that, he's his antics, his emotions get the best of him at times. Kiami's very calm, very relaxed. Again, he drew up some nice plays for him late in that game. Again, I thought he did everything well late in that first half, second half. Everything was good. I thought, besides how he handled the rotations, I thought everything else was great. Again, especially at the last night, I do not think he'll probably be on the staff next year. I know he was close last year to getting the Fordham job, I believe. I think there was another job he was, finals for. So I can imagine after a game like that last night, an AD somewhere out there is probably pretty impressed with the way he coached and handled that team last night. So, kudos to him. Hopefully he gets a shot. But yeah, that was an insane win. That was great. The place is just jumping after, even before the game. Now before the game, that it was rocking before there. There's so much excitement, and it's unbelievable that I kind of walked in there. I did not really have a good feeling walking into that arena last night. I just thought Nova was a better team, and for most of the game they were. And UConn finally caught a couple breaks at the end of it after Nova had breaks the first 35, 36 minutes or so. But yeah, huge win for him again to cap off a great 3-game homestand too, knocking off Seton Hall, Xavier, and Nova. It was a very eventful 3-game homestand. I don't know. Did you see James Bouknight there Saturday?
I saw him get a check. Yeah, I saw him get a check.
Yeah. So I don't think that's pretty crazy to see 2 ejections in 2 straight games like that. So, unbelievable unbelievable game last night. That was. I can't decide if that game was better than Nova game from 2011 when Kemba hit that floater, because I was also there at Gamble. I don't know which one's better, but again, it's like 1A, 1B for me. Just incredible. And again, it feels great, to finally get those guys. Because I think John Rothstein said it was 2,984 days since they beat them in the round of 32 in Buffalo back in 2014.
Yeah, just an awesome night last night. I mean, as you said, Kiami Young, I thought down 4, that game was over. I thought it was over. I thought they really had no chance to win that game when they were down by 4. They missed the free throw. Kiami Young draws up a really nice play. Polly hits the 3, and then they get the jump ball, and then the layup by Cole. Then Cole draws the charge. Just the atmosphere at XL. I mean, this is one of the best atmospheres I've seen at XL in a really, really long time, and it really feels like UConn basketball is back. I mean, the Hurley ejection. I didn't like the Hurley ejection. I thought he was immature. I was one of the few UConn fans that thought he was immature. I thought he was acting immature there, but because I just felt like after the first technical, he should just sat down. I mean, you don't want to cost your team there. I thought he was kind of acting immature there when he was pumping up the fans. But Kiami Young did a great job. Sanago, that's got to be talked about how outstanding he was last night. He played like he was their best player. He was phenomenal. I mean, RJ Cole didn't have a great game, but he came through when it mattered. Obviously with that layup, drawing the charge, came through when it mattered. And last night proved to you that this UConn team's got a chance. They got a chance to make a run. Yeah, absolutely. Sanago was good again. Villanova really sagged off from there in the second half, and they kind of said, "Look, Poly's gonna hit some shots. Hawkins, Cole, they're gonna have to hit shots to beat us." Again, Sanago played pretty well. He needs the one thing besides the passing is he needs to go up strong. For a guy 6'9", I don't know what he weighs, probably 270, 275. He goes up soft a lot of the time. Like he's one of the strong guys out there. Go up strong. That's one thing. He misses some points that time they should make. But yeah, great game from him. Cole. The thing about Cole is, I know Monday he missed most of practice because he's been battling a hip injury. He was exhausted the final 10 minutes. That's like the one thing I didn't like Kiami. He really sat
Gaffney. Gaffney starting to play better last 2 games. I think he played a good first half in the 5 minutes he got, or 4 or 5 minutes he got. And then, like you see Cole was exhausted just because, he's been playing. I think he's now up to 36 minutes a game in the Big East. That's not going to last. I think that's something they're going to run into because these stars are playing all 30 minutes a game. But yeah, Cole came over the matter. He kind of had, that big kind of shot there. Again, that's probably an 8-1. Didn't get it. The charge the other way. I know it's a back and forth. You probably go either way. Again, he kind of started falling before, but also Colin Gillespie was out of control. I thought I thought Cole was set. And then the Hurley ejection, yes, he lets his emotion get the better of him. And yes, at times he cannot control himself. And the first one was very warranting for slamming the scores table. Again, that's a technical.
Yeah.
The second,
and he's got to be mature. He's got to be more mature there. It's a missed call, but it's a missed call in the first half. He's got to be more mature there.
Yes, he does. Now, yes, he does. Again, I heard it. I heard his father's even crazier than the 2 sons. So,
I know his father's is crazier than the 2 sons. He coached at St. Anthony's for 28 years. He won a bunch of national state championships, but I've heard he's nuts. Yeah.
Yes, I've heard some stories from him, from about him. So I see where he gets it from. Yeah, he's got to cool it down a bit there, But again, the pumping of the fan. Again, now I heard there was like 7, 8 bad college basketball writers. One of them said he's the Angel Hernandez of Major League of college basketball, and that's disrespecting Angel Hernandez. That's how bad James Breeding is.
Wow.
There was a Rob Doster who runs like the Field of 68 kind of network.
Yep.
He's like a big UConn fan, so a lot of coaches were texting him. He said he's the worst. He couldn't even put the things that coaches were texting him on Twitter. He's like, I can't do it. Nobody likes him. Somebody called him he's the biggest prick in the game.
Really?
So, yeah. So, he even went so could we kind of sit where like the refs locker room is?
Yep.
So they had about 50 security guards there. When they came out in the second half, somebody said something to him, and he gave the fan the death stare, and actually the fan went back at him. They just gave each other the death stare for about 10, 15 seconds. Like he kind of, the bad call he made, he made up for it by giving us the charge call there. But yeah, that again, he should have been ejected. But yes, he let his emotion get the better of him. But that's who we have. Dan Hurley's a lunatic out there. Again, sometimes I love it, but in a moment like that, it's like you got to settle down there.
Oh, absolutely, without question. I mean, he's just the guy's going crazy. He's going nuts. I mean, yeah. I don't want this to happen in the tournament to this team where he gets thrown out of the game like this. I don't mind his passion. His passion's great, but going crazy like this, going crazy like that. I think he was out of control there. Yeah, I know the UConn fans love it because he went to go pump up the crowd, but I'm sorry, you can't be going nuts like that.
No, they can't. I guess he's encouraging all the boos, but it was a bad call. But yes, he's got to relax there. I even think Sanago tried to go sit up. Tell him to go sit down. He was not having it. So, even the players were trying to settle him down. But again, and Jackson, I think, started kind of woofing a little bit after that. Then I forgot. I think it was Slater when Jackson fouled him, kicked him. And again, I thought it was going to get bad then. But it's like, and I think something like the Xavier 2 game too when he got the technical. It's like, Jackson kind of goes back, gets a technical. It's like, when you do get chaotic like that, your team follows. Again, I know we'll talk about the Jordan Howard situation, but again, look, whatever these players see, their coach are going to, the player or whatever the coach does, their players are going to think it's okay to do that. That's the thing. And, and sometimes, the emotions get the better of you. But as a coach, you got to learn to tune it down a notch. And he was not like that as a player. He started this now as as the coach.
Yeah. It seems like it because I remember in the first year he got thrown out of a couple of games too. So it's been going on for a while. Good coach. He's turned this program around, but he needs to mature. But still,
Yes.
I mean, but besides the fact of the ejection, that was a great win. That was an outstanding win for this program. I think it's a win which this program put their foot down. And then last night was a night where they're back. They're back. This program is finally back to being a competitive college basketball program. I know they made the tournament last year, but I feel like this team now has a legitimate shot. I know they have 7 losses, but in a year where they're really, and this is college basketball, I feel like this team has a chance to make a run. I like the way Sanogo's played. I like the way Cole is playing. I think this team is more together than they were last year. I mean, I know they're not going to be the favorite, but if you've seen the NCAA tournament, the favorite doesn't. It's really the one tournament where the favorite usually doesn't win most of the time. So I think last night UConn proved that this is a contender. This is a team that is a contender. The team that could very easily win the Big East, and a team that very easily can win a national title.
I think it can. My one concern is the way they handle the rotation, though. That's because I'm like, you're not going to be able to last, though, if you're playing guys 35, 36 minutes a game. And I think that's the one problem with the way they handle rotation, which worried me. Like, you're not – with the way they've been playing Cole and Martin and playing 35 minutes a game, you're not going to win a Big East tournament playing 3 straight days in the Big East. There's no way. There's no way they're going to hold up for 3 days. That's the only thing that does concern me. Again, the offense at times kind of goes down. But, yeah, look, you got senior guards in Cole Martin. I know, again, they're not Kemba or Shabazz or any of them, but they are seniors. They both played in the tournament last year. Martin's played in a couple at Rhode Island. So it's a team, yeah, I think they can make a run. Again, they're sitting probably on that 5 seed right now. I know they were talked about as a 4 seed, in that top 16 team reveal. So they may have launched up to the 4 last night, maybe, but again, you're probably the 5. There's some very good mid-major 12 seeds that, again, kind of worry me. But look, yeah, it's matchups. Again, to me, all about March, it's like the matchups. It's the senior guards. It's the senior leadership, upperclassmen in there. Again, I think if this team is on and they're hitting shots and, not Hawkins, Hawkins and Poly, I think, are the 2 X factors. If they're knocking down jump shots, they're going to be fun. They're going to be okay, because then that's when the defenses have to kind of push up and you kind of really have to only – and Tanago's going to be able to get one-on-one, and that's what they really need. So if those guys can knock down shots, then, yeah, I think you kind of go on a run. And, but again, it just – everybody else, it's just been inconsistencies. And, again, one bad night, and you're gone. You can't really have an off night in the tournament.
No, and you made a good point about Hawkins and Poly. Poly hit some big threes last night, especially the one to cut the lead down to 1. If those 2 guys can play, this team can make a run, because that's bench points. We don't have to rely on, because then Martin, Sanago, and Cole we have one of those 3 could afford to have a bad night if those 2 guys step up, because you want your bench to be, you want to have some depth. If you're going to win a national championship, I feel like you have to have guys off the bench that can play well. But yeah, so that's a really good point with Hawkins and Poly there.
Yeah, and with the bench, because they need those guys. Because it's like Cole's been averaging like 15, Martin 15, Sanago 16. It's like that's I think they've averaged right around 70. That's like almost 45, 40 points. That's 45 points of your team's coming from those 3 guys. And yeah, that's something, again, like Jordan Hawkins. I think the defense is starting to improve a bit. Again, I think the confidence needs to get a little bit better, but it's like, yeah, again, I think he's a potential lottery pick. I think probably next year, if he can have a good summer and a good season next year, I think he's a lottery pick next year. I think he's that talented. Ball hands got to get a little bit better as well. But yeah, those 2, again, Poly, again, like last night, Poly's shot was impressive because he was all balanced. He did not catch that ball cleanly either. I thought there was no way that ball was going in. It somehow did. Like, again, yeah, Poly, when Poly is on like he was Saturday, I know he had 11 points early, and then they didn't really play him much in the second half. But yeah, when Poly's on, again, he's a dangerous shooter. The problem is, usually it depends on the first few shots. If he misses, he's usually off. But if he knocks him down, he's usually, he's on that night. So yeah, those 2 are the big factors in that game. And actually, I wanted to make one more point. I forgot to make was like the court storming. At first, I was like, I was like very kind of unsure about it, but then I thought about it more later or afterwards. those students haven't experienced something like that. Like it's just been all downhill for all those students, and we haven't been the same. So like all those students, they don't kind of, some of them probably don't realize the, fortunate that kind of went on back there in the early 2000s, late 99. So again, it was pretty cool to see a court storm. That was the first time at the XL Center. So I was actually okay with it. It was great. I kind of think if you should do it if you're really not supposed to win, if you're not really, because I like Indiana did a few weeks ago into Purdue. I'm like, you're Indiana. Why are we storming the floor here? But, I guess Indiana hasn't been what Indiana is either. So I kind of understood, and they lost like Purdue 11 straight times. So I guess I'm okay with the court storming now, but I guess it was kind of cool to go witness a court storming for the first time.
Yeah, the funny thing is, you're actually convincing me that this court storming was good. At the beginning, I didn't think it was. I didn't like it because I'm thinking like UConn's a national program. They've won national titles. What are we doing storming the court after just winning a regular season Big East game? But as you're convincing me where they really haven't experienced anything. UConn hasn't won a tournament game since 2016. None of these kids were in school in 2000. None of these kids were at UConn in 2016. So I you know what? I'm sorry not to mind the court storming there because it was such a big win. It was such a great night for UConn basketball. Pretty much, I feel like this is the rebirth of UConn basketball. I think this is the night where UConn basketball has been reborn. So I'm for the court storming. It's amazing how you convinced me from not being for the court storming to being for the court storming.
Yeah, I was convinced too. I don't know, John Fansel, he works for like 5 Sports, does all the Big East. He was there last night, and he kind of said like, I think it was great by the students. Again, like none of the students had seen this, and and that kind of got me to convince myself like, it's a good one. And then too with like, and I know you're kind of technical difficulties when I said this, but when I said this earlier, but like this was like Todd Pye was talking about it in the post game show or post game press conference. When Nova came here in his freshman year and they won by 22, and they just got absolutely smacked. They were again like UConn was down 16 at the first media timeout in the second half, and Big Red started the UConn chant, and I was just like, we have fallen so far down a cliff. And again, that was like the low point. I felt like that was probably one of the lowest points to be doing a UConn chant down 16 to a former Big East rival. So last night, I think you're right. I think last night's like the rebirth. Again, this fan base now, and even like Jay Wright credited the fans last night. He's like, that was a great atmosphere at XL Center. Glad to have UConn back. Good luck the rest of the way. Again, maybe we see him at the Garden in a few weeks. But yeah, I think you're on. I think you're right about that. That absolutely could be the rebirth of this program. And again, I've been hard on Hurley a lot, but again, you got to give him credit for building this thing back up the way he has. I know times it hasn't been great, but again. I think it was 3-4 years ago, somebody took a shot Saturday, or it was like a picture from 2018, and it was like 50 people at like the Tulsa game at the XL Center. It's like this is what 4 years difference. So yeah, I think it's been pretty. He's done a very good job of building this brand back up. And again, I want we should be right there with Villanova every single year battling for the Big East title. That's where this team should be at every single season. I felt like last night, got them there because I did not think they were going to walking in there last night. I really did not have a good feeling about winning that game.
Yeah, and you talked about 2018. That was rock bottom for UConn. That was rock bottom for the UConn program. They were 14-18. I mean, one of the worst teams in the American Conference that year. That was if there was rock bottom, that was clearly rock bottom. Was Kevin Ollie's last year. He needed to be fired. UConn absolutely made the right decision getting rid of Kevin Ollie, bringing in Dan Hurley to change the culture of this program. And it did take a little while. I mean, 2019 they weren't good. 2020 they were better. They were better. Last year they were good, but not a national championship contender. But this year, Dan Hurley, in 4 years, has got this team in a national championship contender. And yes, you can get on his sideline antics. To me, if he would have lost this game, I would have destroyed him because I would have felt like, he was immature. But Kiami Young, his assistant, who he's done a good job of, trying to, teaching him how to coach. He did a great job, and they won. And this just shows you that Hurley has made this program into a title contender.
Yeah, absolutely. He's built a great staff around him. Kami Young, seems like he's going to be a head coach probably this offseason. Tom Moore's got experience at Quinnipiac, and he was there with, last 2 years with Dan at Rhode Island. Yeah, he's built a great staff, and, they all kind of chipped in as well to win that game last night. They again, like Luke Murray too, coming in. He's one of the best recruiters in for assistant coach in the entire country. Again, he's another one that I think needs a little bit more seasoning, but I think he's another one that's going to be a head coach in a couple years. So from everything I've heard about him, so yeah, he's done a great job building this thing back up again. And I'm happy for like Polly's and Whaley's that we're still, the two guys are still here that did hit rock bottom back in 2018. That they were kind of they're able to experience something like this last night. Of like this was they kind of finally got that taste of this was like what the good old days used to be. Like I know trying to come to UConn, they kind of wanted to be part of that. I wanted to be that culture of trying to help this program get back to where it was, and they finally got to kind of able to kind of get that experience. I'm like in the XL Center last night. I even asked my dad about it. Even the second deck in the XL Center, there were students. I've never seen that before. He didn't either. Like it was packed with students. And again, the student section the last few games have been great, and it's the last few years it hasn't. I understand why. They haven't been good, and they haven't been interesting. So I understand why, but it's like something like last night. It's like, yeah, you're happy for those guys that have been here for that, that have been part of this program when it was rock bottom. They finally got a taste of like what it was like to play for UConn, and hopefully, what the future is going to be like. Like I say, like Vital is like a huge part of building that kind of foundation back up, for the run he went on in 2020. And again, who knows kind of what happens. They played really well down the stretch there. Again, Polly and Whaley, two guys that kind of stuck around. And again, I've kind of been hard on Polly because he's been very up and down streaky shooter. But again, last night coming to clutch again. Whaley may not blow up, with 20 points, but he does all the little things so well. Like Big East defense or co-defense player of the year last year, again, going to be right there again. But yeah, for these guys to kind of deal with being there rock bottom to this is, I'm happy for those guys that they stuck around, they didn't leave. They're here through the hard, the good times and bad times.
Absolutely, absolutely. And how fitting was that Polly hit the shot to give them a chance? He was there when it was awful, when it was terrible 4 years ago, when Kevin Ollie needed to be fired. And he was the one to hit that shot to give them a chance. And then the guy Hurley brought in, the transfer, RJ Cole, stepping up at the end of the game with the forcing the jump ball, getting the layup, and then getting the charge. An outstanding program. We haven't had a lot of these in the last 8 years, but we're hoping there's a lot more to come now because Hurley's got this at a level where I expect this team to be competing for Big East titles and national titles for years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. I do too. And I think, we're getting, again, last night was great. The marquee, again, that was like the marquee game of the night. The only top 25 battle again. And, that was the game of the night. And it was finally, UConn's back kind of on the national picture. And it's been a while. Yeah. I think this is the first time since 2014 that they've had 3 consecutive sellouts. Like, it's just, the energy's there now. And it's like, you're starting, like the fair weather fans are starting to trickle back in. They've been gone for a while, but they're starting to trickle back in.
I have an issue with some of those fair weather fans.
Yeah, the ones that just show up when they're good. I could like the American, when they played in Hartford in the American Athletic Tournament, like that. Those were the true. There was only 12,000
because I went to 2 of the 3. I went to in 15. I went to 2 of the 3 games. I went to the game at buzzer beater against Cincinnati, and then I was at the final against SMU in 15, and then I was at the quarterfinal game in 2017. But I think the biggest crowd of that was the final against the SMU. But really, those weren't great crowds. Really, the 2 Friday night games, those weren't great crowds. But last night
they were all
It showed you why there's a rebirth. The program is reborn.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was at the Boatwright one too, the SMU one. Were you there the whole day on in 2017, like that whole Friday?
Yes, I was there the whole Friday in 2017.
So you must have saw it because it was the UCF game. I was actually on the floor. I hit like the layup, free throw, and the 3-pointer.
Oh, you were on the floor.
Yeah, I got like requested for that.
That was Taco Fall.
Because I actually got to
UCF. In that game.
Yeah, they did. I actually got to walk by Taco. I was like, there's not a guy. I was very cool to walk by Taco. But yeah, like that game was Yeah, like that. Like those crowds were all diehard fans. Like
Oh yeah.
and that's great. Last night, you were definitely some fair weather fans, but again, as long as it kind of goes throwing out the crowd again. Saturday's crowd was great. Wednesday's crowd was great. Like again, like they're really for me too. Like kind of being 23, not really getting this go to like all the games in the 90s or 2000s of kind of the glory days. Because like the final year I played travel basketball, like the final year in the Big East. So like I think I went to like one game that year. Like it kind of sounded like I never really got to really experience the whole kind of Big East feel. And again, that was something that last night, that there was a lot of. So, I'm excited to kind of see the future now, and kind of having crowds like that every night. Because there's a point, American games, you just sit on your hands for 2 hours, at every game, and it's just, it gets old.
The American was the worst. I mean,
Mm.
the problem was the problem is the team was no good. The matchups didn't excite you. The atmospheres were terrible. Like the atmospheres were terrible at games. You thought maybe if they got in the American, they would just dominate, and that's what would make it worthwhile. But they were bad because recruits didn't even want to come. So that's why the American was terrible. But playing the American was terrible. But last night. But it showed you why the program is back. I mean, and it just everything last night lived up to the expectation because there was a lot of hype for this game. Like even 2 months beforehand, this was the home game that everyone was hyping up. When the schedule came out, this was the home game everyone was hyping up, and it lived up to everything. It lived up to its billing. All the expectation, it lived up. It was an outstanding game on both sides, and it was just so great to watch a game like that last night and to see UConn win a game like that last night.
Yeah, absolutely. They have not pulled out many of those the last couple of years. That's been one of the things of closing out games. They did it. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, last few years just hasn't. Like last night kind of felt great. The atmosphere was unbelievable. It was right there. That again, that crowd was insane. It's a totally it's a new day for college or for UConn basketball. It's totally, it's great to be back, the American was just, again, nobody was interested. It was, again, a lot of kids, especially around here, they want to go play in the Big East, Big East Garden, like that. That's why most of the Big East schools that left the ACC, that's why they're struggling. They can't get New York kids anymore.
Nope.
Those are all the big pipelines.
Like Pitt is terrible. Syracuse isn't what they want. They're all struggling. Yes.
Yeah.
Pitt are struggling. Yeah, because the New York City kids want to play in the Big East. They remember going to that Big East tournament. All the memories of the Big East tournament. You go back to those UConn Pitt games in the early 2000s. Then Jerry McNamara with that unbelievable run. Kemba, 5 games. Winning 5 in a row, leading UConn to 5 straight wins. You go to Syracuse when they made that run in 2013. That I was there that night where they played Georgetown in one of the last memories you had of the old Big East. They played Georgetown in that semifinal game, went to overtime. So many people around the New York area wanted to play for those Big East schools, and that's what made the tournament and made the league what it was. And I feel like with UConn back in the league, it's starting to become that again.
Yeah, absolutely. You're sorry. Yeah, again, they may not be the old memories. But yeah, we're starting, they're starting to make some new memories now of like the new Big East here and kind of the new age of the conference. And yeah, it's great. I was at that 2011, the finals, against Louisville. That was insane.
Yeah. I guess,
that was my first time at the Garden. That was unbelievable. That was like the one kind of Big East tournament game I went to at the Garden. Unfortunately, I wish. Again, one of the goals for me was to go see all 16 teams play, but I never really got the chance, unfortunately. But, that Ray Allen game too against, AI.
Classic. That was classic.
Oh, yeah.
Ray Allen. I mean, when St. John's and UConn went at it, when St. John's had Ron Artest, when St. John's and UConn went at it for a couple of years there. I mean, just some absolutely classic matchups.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we can go on.
Oh yeah,
on all day about all the great matchups that happened in the Big East back then. But yeah, again, it's a great conference, and it's just again, fans are excited. Again, I know it stinks that we don't play Syracuse. It stinks that we don't play Pittsburgh anymore. It kind of stinks we don't play West Virginia. Those type of schools that you did have a rivalry with. Again, still don't know why they don't do a home and home with Syracuse every year, or at least play in the Garden every year. I don't understand that. But yeah, again, you still got Nova. Again, like there's still some other good kind of nothing like Syracuse or Western, but there's still some. Xavier's been a really good program for the last 20 years. Creighton's got a little bit of history. I know it's not the big brand, but yeah, they're still much more exciting than the American. And last night, yeah, it was like the first kind of big memory here. Big kind of new beast memory. Again, last year, this is really like the first year. Kind of like I feel like last year was just. With us officially being back, because last year just, obviously with no fans, did not feel good at all. It was not great. It just didn't feel right. So, I feel like, this is really the first year of, you kind of officially being back in this conference. And, it's great, It's great getting to play all these teams again and going to all these games. And it's just great to have a bunch of games where you're just kind of excited. You kind of know you're seeing a great team. You're not seeing Tulane on a Sunday, at 2:00 during the NFC or during the AFC or NFC championship game weekend. It's just, it's exciting to actually go see these guys play. And yeah, it just, you're building new memories and taking to that too. Please never take off those 99 uniforms. I know Hurley will probably never take those off till they lose in those, but they're so much better than the ones they have now. So just make those a permanent home, please.
Absolutely. I really like those uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely hope they keep wearing those. But great win for UConn last night. But we got to move on to the biggest story in college basketball. A very unfortunate story between Michigan and Wisconsin. End of the game, Juwan Howard was pressing. Greg Gard calls a timeout, and that's when that's when all hell broke loose. The handshake line. Juwan Howard wanted to walk by Greg Gard. Greg Gard grabs his arm. And Juwan Howard starts telling him, I'll remember that. Greg Gard grabs his arm, and then everything went crazy after that. That sparked, the two teams going at it. Juwan Howard hitting a Wisconsin assistant and swinging at a Wisconsin assistant, hitting him in the face. And my take on this is I'm not condoning anything Juwan Howard did. Juwan Howard deserved to be suspended for the rest of the regular season. He's lucky he's not suspended for the postseason too. You can't you can't swing at another coach like that. You're leading 18 to 22-year-old men. You're trying to, teach them life lessons. You cannot ever do that. You cannot ever swing at another person like that. That's absolutely ridiculous. You do that, out in public, you get arrested. But the thing that really irritates me is, why didn't Greg Gard get a 1-game suspension? It's absolutely ridiculous why Greg Gard didn't get a 1-game suspension. He put his hands on Juwan Howard. He put his hands on him. How does he not get suspended either? I don't get that. The Big Ten dropped the ball, could not have dropped the ball more here with this. Greg Gard put his hand. Greg Gard put his hands on Juwan Howard. The whole thing, escalated because Greg Gard put his hands on him. If he just lets Howard walk by, the whole thing doesn't escalate. How does Greg Gard not get suspended? That to me, for a game, to me that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't understand that one either. I figured he'd get at least a game or two. But I know, just kind of watching games, I know Greg Gard always kind of puts his hand around your back, but in that moment, and I think the big thing that sparked it was, he kind of answered to what Howard said, and it's like, dude, just walk away. Just get out of there. There's no reason for that. But yeah, Howard, again, I know it's been a rough year for him. I know in 14-11 they were top 5 odds to win the championship, the national championship year. I know it's not lived up to expectations, and that's no excuse. And so I know emotions are running high. The timeout, again, you're still pressing. I like they're still playing hard, but I don't know. I'm on both sides there. It's they're college kids. It's okay, you're not. It's not like you're up by 40. You probably shouldn't there, but I don't know. I don't know if the time was really necessary. But then I assume you remember too, this is strike 2 for Howard. Remember last year in the Big Ten tournament against Maryland, with 11 minutes left, he got ejected, went after the Maryland coach too.
Yeah, he went after Mark Turgeon. Yeah.
Yeah. That's strike 2. And this is year 3 or 4 for him. You're already on strike 2, Juwan. I know you're I know you're a former player. I know it's your alma mater. I know you're strong. I know it's been a rough year, but man, and I was talking about this too with Hurley and the way his antics. Again, their players started swinging too because your coach is swinging at another coach. Your players think it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, they got 3 games suspended against Rutgers tonight. Rutgers on fire. That's not going to be an easy game tonight.
Those are 2 teams that are on the bubble. That's why it was so dumb of Juwan Howard to do what he did. I mean, your team's on the bubble. You got a winnable game tonight. Your schedule's really brutal the last 5 games. I know you're upset that Greg Gard called that timeout, but you have no right to go swing at an assistant coach after a game. You're supposed to be setting an example for these kids and these young men, and you just cannot do that at all. And this is the funny thing with this. The thing with the situation is no one is everyone's at fault here. Greg Gard is at fault, and Juwan Howard is at fault. They both were totally wrong for what they did. Yeah. I mean, Juwan Howard shouldn't be pressing late in the game. Greg Gard should not be calling a timeout up by 15 with like 30 seconds to go. He shouldn't be calling a timeout. And then obviously at the end, when Howard doesn't want to shake your hand, you shouldn't be putting your hands on another coach. And then obviously Howard has no right to just snap and go crazy like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's at fault. It's just adults kind of failing in the room. And, again, it affects your Michigan players now that they're suspended. Again, Phil Martelli's a very good coach. It was not right what St. Joe's did firing him. Again, Phil Martelli's a better coach than Juwan Howard is. So, it's not like they got some nobody on the bench now. But, again, Phil Martelli, he's a very good coach. But you're still missing. I think 2 of them are starters, that you're missing tonight. Your season's kind of on the line. You got Illinois at home coming up, Michigan State at home, Iowa at home. This 4-game stretch, and none of those games are easy. And it's just adults kind of failing. How do you again? It just if you're like a parent recruit, it's you want your son or daughter to go play for a coach that again is gonna act responsible in spots like that, of kind of just knowing when to walk away. Because again, it's just causing trouble. Again, it looks bad on everybody. Again, it's a totally different kind of, for Howard to kind of do that is ridiculous. It's a bad look for both programs. Gard definitely should have been, the Wisconsin assistant coach is a suspended game. It was well deserved. It's just, everybody's to blame. It's just such a poor example. Again, in the first weekend, too, that there was no football college basketball had to compete with. And that's the biggest storyline. I know there was not really many great games over the weekend, but that's your big storyline. It's because it's been a really fun, interesting season and kind of wide open year. And it's very unfortunate that, once again, coaches, adults kind of ruin the moment because, they just, once again, you can't control your emotions. I think that's the biggest thing as a coach is in game, after game, is staying calm. And, that's why the great ones kind of win, because they can control their emotions. Both those guys can't. That's kind of, that's it's totally unfortunate that incident. It looks horrible for college basketball.
And you made the point that this is the first weekend where there's no football. This is the headline. The college basketball, let's be honest, popularity wise, has gone down over the years. With the guys now playing overseas and not the best, some of the best players not playing it. Jalen Green didn't play college basketball. LaMelo Ball didn't play college basketball. Some of the best players haven't played it. So the popularity has gone down. This is the first weekend where you're kind of taking this. I know there was the NBA All-Star game and everything, and the Daytona 500, but this is the first weekend where you're kind of taking the spotlight a little bit. And this is the story. It's just it's absolutely terrible for the game. And you're right. And you talk about coaches' maturity. And I was saying that last night about the difference between Dan Hurley and Jay Wright. Jay Wright would never do what Dan Hurley did last night and put his team in that position. Now, obviously, you kind of end up winning, so it's not as big of a story. But yeah, these coaches need to keep their composure. I mean, or it's embarrassing on both for both programs. It couldn't be more like Michigan right now. Obviously Beeline leaves, and they hired Juwan Howard. They want to bring the Fab Five back. I mean, and then he does something like this. I'm telling you, he's lucky he didn't lose his job after the 2 incidents. It's the previous incident last year. He's lucky he didn't lose his job. I mean, he's very lucky he's not suspended for the rest of the season. I mean,
Rest
of the you don't suspended for the rest of the regular season, but the rest of the is suspended for the Big Ten tournament too.
Yeah, no, he is, and I was a little surprised because it's like when they made the decision, it's like it was more Big Ten than Michigan actually. So, but yeah, like again, the spotlight's on. It's just you can't, it's just that's just a huge thing. He's done a good job with since John Beelan took the Cavs job a couple years ago. He's kind of Bill. I know this year has not been great, but he's kind of kept it steady where John Beelan kind of had it when he left this team. And yeah, as a former, one of the big stars, at Michigan all time, and as you said, part of that Fat Five team. Again, it's strike two for him. Like he's really has to clean some things up now because again, Michigan can't keep dealing with something Big Ten's not going to keep dealing with something like incidents like this. Again, it's bad for the sport. It's bad. It's a bad look for the program. It's a bad look, for school. It's a bad look for the Big Ten if they keep allowing it for something like this to happen. It's just a bad look all around. It's a bad look for the sport. It's just things that you got to just be more mature. I know he hasn't been a head coach forever. He's been what? He was assistant coach for what? Like 3 or 4 years before he took the job. Like I know he has not been a coach forever, but that's no excuse. You still got to learn and know how to act. I mean, the guy was like under Eric Spoelsner. That guy. I know it's a totally different NBA college. It's kind of, especially Greg seems kind of did a little bit different, but Spoelsner seems like one of the common guys out there. But yeah, it's just a total black eye for the sport. That was your big storyline out of this weekend because because now with football, I think the Northeast Conference tournament starts like Monday. Like it's like now college basketball, like the regular season for most people, you only football's done. You only got about 2 weeks until like the first tournament tips off. So yeah, again with the football pushing back now, it's tougher for college basketball, and for something like that, it does not look good for the sport.
No, and for Michigan, the only saving grace is thank God they got Phil Martelli. Thank God they got Phil Martelli as an assistant coach, a guy who was a head coach at St. Joe's he was a head coach for a while. I think it was
15, 20 years.
Yeah, he was a head coach at St. Joe's for a while. Got almost come to a Final Four back when they had Jameer Nelson and Delonte West. So thank God they got Phil Martelli because if they didn't have Phil Martelli as an assistant, I think Michigan would be in big trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't know who that next guy down is. And yeah, again, you got to get Juwan Howard for going out and getting that guy. They have on his staff, but yeah, he's unbelievable. He's been great. Again, I kind of said it earlier. The way St. Joe's got rid of him by actually firing him, it was ridiculous. And they have not got out of their kind of ways yet. They're still struggling. It's unfortunate, but yeah, it's good. He's kind of, again, Michigan's not going to lose a step. I think Howard is a pretty good extra coach, but obviously right now at this point, Phil Martelli is a better coach than Juwan Howard is. So yeah, Michigan. Okay, coaching wise, again, yeah, but it's like you kind of affect your team here. You're missing 3 guys tonight in a big game against Rutgers.
Absolutely, it's another team that's both teams trying to get into the NCAA tournament, and you're playing with the hand behind your back with something. You do have Martelli coaching, but you are without some of your better players. So it's going to be an uphill climb for Michigan going forward. But to wrap up, we're going to talk about one of the bigger games this weekend, and we got KU going to Baylor. This is a game where I think Kansas wins. I think Baylor is very overrated. I think they're overrated. I think Kansas is the better team. Baylor doesn't have a player as good as Ajabi. I know they're the defending champs and they're at home, and that's kind of interesting why they're playing this game head to head with the Nets and Bucks game. It's kind of interesting why they're doing that, but I think Kansas wins it close.
Yeah, I got Kansas. I believe. Well, I wouldn't know because game day they don't really even care what time they start. I don't know if it's game day there. They don't usually opt out of it, but they probably. I don't know why ESPN's really going head to head in this one. It should be a good. I hope it's a good one. Problem is, yeah, it's Baylor. I think at healthy, I think Baylor's a team that could get to the Final Four. Again, I don't think they're getting healthy. I don't know when LJ Crowder's coming back. They miss him. James Akinjo, he's been banged up pretty much all year. He's been battling back injury. Adam Flagler was banged up too Monday night, and he pretty much carried him. And then Jonathan Tamachachi was out for the remainder of the year that was a horrible knee injury. It just, they're just kind of banged up, and they kind of need, they're kind of hoping they just need some guys to kind of get up, carry him. Kendall Brown's starting to play really well, but yeah, I don't think they have the scoring ability. And yeah, with Ojabai, Ojabaji, and the way Kansas is playing right now, they're playing pretty well. I do think Kansas on the road gets this one, and they'll be up, three, they'll at least be up 2 games still, or they'll be up 3 on Baylor and then 2 still on Texas Tech. It's a big one for Kansas to try to clinch another Big 12 title. Again, it's only Kansas is not great defensively, but the way Baylor, it's with just Baylor with everybody out right now, I don't think that's going to be a problem because Baylor's really trying to grind out games, keep games kind of in the 60s, low 70s. But against Kansas, I just cannot see them being able to do it. Again, it's at home. It's a Saturday night. The place is going to be rocking. So maybe the crowd again, some early shots fall down for Baylor. Some confidence starts going. You never know. But this is going to be a tough one for the Bears to win. I agree. Kansas is the better team right now. I just think with the way they can score the basketball. And, I think they played defense well enough to escape Waco. But, yeah, I think it's much closer than it was 3 weeks ago when Kansas beat them by about 30.
Yeah, we'll see. It should be a good Big 12 matchup. But we got Brian Flores back in the NFL. But before we talk about that, we got a promo from Clovercrest Media.
Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 2011280L. Call for additional details.
Alrighty, Brian Flores is back in the NFL. He's hired as the linebackers coach and defensive assistant of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I applaud the Steelers for making this move. I think, obviously, I'm not completely surprised because you have the Rooney Rule out there. The Steelers are owned by the Rooney family, so I'm not surprised with this move. I'm happy that Brian Flores is on the staff, and I think I'm not surprised at this. I'm happy about this. I'm happy for Flores. I'm happy that he's in the league. I'm happy that he's back in the league. I didn't want to see him sit out, so I know we couldn't get a head coaching job, but I'm happy that Flores is back in the league with the Steelers. Justin, were you surprised by this move?
No, not really. And I thought the Steelers would kind of be the one team because, as you mentioned, the Rooney Rule. It was kind of, from the Steelers, owner, the family. So, yeah, again, he deserves another chance. I kind of said it a couple weeks ago. Like, if I was GM, he would have been my first call if I'm looking for a head coach in the circuit. It's unfortunate. Again, I'm glad he's got a job, somewhere. Again, he probably should be a head coach or coordinator at least somewhere. But at least the Steelers are picking him up here and going to have him on the staff again. It's a good organization to be with. It's a good team, especially that defense. I'm excited to kind of see. I know he's like a defensive analyst and linebacker coach, but again, I kind of imagine Tomlin's going to let him have some input. And again, that defense could get even better with him. So yeah, no, I wasn't really surprised, and I think it's a really good hire from the Steelers. Applaud him for doing it. So yeah, I'm glad that Flores was able to find something. I know it's not probably what he was looking for, or I know probably wanted, obviously I know he wanted the head coach job, but he was able to find something, and it does not shock me that it was the Steelers.
No. I mean, not at all. I mean, I like this hire. I think I think he's going to be. I think Tom is definitely going to get more responsibility, knowing that he's a head coach, knowing he's a head coach with success. And I don't know if he's ever going to get back being a head coach, but I think to put him on this staff with a pretty good defense. You got a defense with T.J. Watt. You got a defense with Cam Hayward. You got a defense with Minkah Fitzpatrick. I mean, it's gonna be weird the dynamic between him and Minkah Fitzpatrick because Fitzpatrick he left the Dolphins when Florida's first year as head coach. That dynamic can be a little bit weird, but I think this move is really gonna help this. I think this move is gonna help this team. I don't know if it makes a humongous difference, but I think it's gonna help this team. So I think it's gonna help this team because I just think having another experienced coach on the staff is going to make this team. This team got to the playoffs last year. They do need a quarterback. That's pretty obvious. They're obviously going to need a quarterback. We'll see what they do in the offseason there. But just having another coach with coaching experience really helps this coaching staff. Justin, how do you feel like it's going to help the Steelers?
Yeah, I think it does help the Steelers. I think with that defense, as you said, another head coach kind of in that room. I think it's always good to kind of have another guy, in there that kind of has dealt with like all kind of everything the head coach got to deal with day in and day out in the NFL, and the guy that's, again, he's been around the Patriots organization as well. Like he's been around the block. He kind of, again, the Steelers are a good organization. It's not like he's got to come in here and it's like he's working with some, like a Dolphins front office or organization where it's just kind of clueless. But yeah, again, I think with that defense and the linebackers that they have, it'll be very interesting what kind of input he puts in there and kind of, does suggest any changes. But yeah, it's a defense who, this defense pretty much carried the Steelers to the playoffs last year. Obviously they need a quarterback, but it'll be very interesting how he can make this defense even better. Because again, it's a stellar defense. Steelers usually have a very good defense. So yeah, it'll be exciting to kind of see what. In a tough division too, where you got a lot of really good quarterbacks and Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow in those offenses. So, and I know the Browns have a lot of talent around Baker, but if they can find the quarterback, it's good, I think, in that division to kind of find another defensive-minded coach like Brian Flores is in that division because who knows what happened to that quarterback for the Steelers. So they may have to grind some games out next year and have another guy like that. Like Flores could really take advantage of that if they can't find the quarterback they want this offseason.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah. If you look at the Steelers season, it was a lot of, grinding out wins, really, despite Big Ben. I mean, they won a lot. They won obviously that last one against the Ravens. They had, the win on opening day against the Bills. I mean, there was a lot of wins that they really grinded out. And yeah, having, a guy like Flores on that staff it's just going to make the defense even better. You might see them play a little bit more man coverage this year because Flores like to play a lot of man coverage in Miami. But yeah, I'm obviously happy for him being back in the league, and I'm happy for the Steelers. And you talked about how competitive the division is. That's why I don't think it's going to be as easy for the Bengals to get to the Super Bowl because you got the Ravens that are, with Lamar's back. You got the Browns with their roster, and you got the Steelers. And as long as Tom is there, they're going to be competitive. So that's why I think it's going to be tough for the Bengals to get back to the Super Bowl because of how competitive this division is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it could be for the Bengals. And then you talk about teams outside the division, the Chiefs, the Bills, for the Bengals. So yeah, it's a tough division. And to add another guy that could kind of help you navigate through it, like a Brian Flores, I think it's excellent. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a good transition here for him. They'll be able to play more man coverage. And again, with the guys that they have on the edges, do they blitz more? I know he's going to be working the linebackers. Does he blitz the linebackers more this year? It'll be very interesting what kind of things they scheme up this offseason, kind of, use in the next season. So I do like the hire. Again, it's somebody in that room to kind of help you out, get through this division. Cause it's a tough division, and again, they were able to sneak in this year with all the injuries that kind of happened. They're able, still to find their way to get in a wild card spot. But yeah, now now I know the Steelers want to kind of get back win that AFC North division. I think Brian Flores does help that out, bringing him in right now.
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. And I'm excited to see him back in the league this year on Mike Tomlin's staff. But that'll wrap it up I'll wrap it up there. But we had NBA All-Star Weekend, and we're starting the second half of the NBA season. Before we talk about that, we got a promo from Clovercrest Media.
Beast mode.
Westbrook down lane, blocked by Randall. Julius Randall with an excellent defensive play.
Joel battling in the paint, laying it up and in.
Done time. Oh, wrap it up.
Thompson just the 2 points. This team dribbling. Oh, exploding to the rim.
That is the Posting Up podcast. I will be making an appearance on that tonight at 6 o'clock, so make sure you check it out. Jace, Sean, Zay. It's Jace, am I correct? It's me, you, Sean, and Isaiah tonight. But make sure you check out the Posting Up podcast, 6 o'clock tonight. I will be on it. You definitely want to hear my opinions on everything that's going on around the NBA tonight at 6 o'clock. Even though I'll be sure to give my opinions right now, I'll be on Posting Up at 6 o'clock, so make sure you check that out. But the big story in the NBA, obviously, All-Star Weekend was this weekend. You had the skills competition this week. Obviously in the skills competition, all the Cavaliers guys won. You got Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, and Jared Allen. They won the skills competition. You had the 3-point contest won by Karl Anthony Towns, and the slam dunk contest won by Obi Toppin. I mean, I know there's a lot of criticism of the slam dunk contest. It was boring, and it was really, it was a very boring slam dunk contest. I personally fell asleep during it because it was so boring. You probably were watching. I bet you were watching that Oregon-Arizona game during it.
Yes,
the 3-point shooting competition, okay. But the skills competition was okay. But they just got to get stars back in the dunk contest. That might have been one of the worst dunk contests I've ever seen, and there have been a lot of bad ones over the last decade.
Yeah, the dunk this is my opinion on it too. Like, I think like all the good ones, like guys have kind of running out of ideas. Like, like when Blake Griffin jumped over the car, like, and that was like, for me, kind of like my journey. I feel like that was like the peak of the dunk contest. It's like, yeah, it does not live up. I used to love watching dunk contests. I don't think I've watched it the last 2 years now. Like, I just have not been interested in it. It just does not really excite me anymore. Unfortunately, I used to love it, But yeah, I'm just not really into it anymore. Again, like all these like All-Star stuff, yeah, I don't know. For me, it's tough to get into, but all of it, I don't know if you're the same way. I don't really, it's kind of tough to get into like some of these All-Star stuff. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of cool to see some of the skills, the new like skill stuff they added in and the 3-point kind of. Like, I know like Steph Curry probably doesn't want to be in it because he loses. It kind of looks bad, but it's like, I would love to see like how many threes Steph Curry can hit in like a 3-point contest. It's like, but I know it's probably one of those things where it's like there's probably a ton of pressure because everybody knows, thinks he's going to win and somebody knocks him off. But it's unfortunate dunk contest has not lived up to what it used to be if you're, back, 10, 15 years ago, even further before.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I think a lot of these, the only thing I'm really excited about now for All-Star Weekend is the home run derby, because you have to actually physically go out and hit home runs. That's the only event I get excited about. The skills competition really doesn't do it for me. The 3-point shooting contest is probably my favorite because you actually have to physically go out and shoot a 3. The dunk contest is just, it's gone way downhill over the years. The 3-point shooting contest, I don't mind, but yeah, this All-Star Weekend in the NBA, it's just, it's more for the entertainment than it is for everything that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, the sports are like an entertainment business. Yeah, that's kind of what they're doing it for. Yeah, it's the home run derby. Yeah, I get into 3-point contest. Like, I would love to just watch 3-point contests like Curry, Young, like some of like, like that's something I would really be amped up for. Yeah, the 3-point contest again. Like, I know Karl Anthony Towns is a good shooter. I just would never have thought that he would win a 3-point contest. Like, it's just one of those things that, like that and the home run derby aren't bad. It's like, yeah, the NHL one, the new one they actually did was pretty cool. Kind of with trying to like kind of score like a shootout kind of type goal. Some of those are kind of cool, but yeah, it's like one of those things though. Yeah, like, it's like, I forget who it was actually did reinvented like the scene from like Dodgeball. The movie Dodgeball was pretty cool, but yeah, it just It's how kind of took the into it, but yeah, like it doesn't dunk contest now too, so you have the unlimited chances to get a dunk. I don't know, it's no time limit. Yeah, it's tough. 3-point contest, yeah, and home run derby I can get into.
Yeah, I mean, and now moving on to the All-Star game. The All-Star game, outside of the end, I don't mind the new format, to be honest.
Yeah.
At the end, but outside of that, the game's a joke. No one plays defense. But at the end, I actually don't mind it. I don't mind, the fourth quarter of it. I don't mind them playing up to a certain score. I don't mind that. It was competitive at the end. I do like how competitive is the end. I think that it's better than it used to be, but the game is still very, very unentertaining, especially for 3 quarters.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it gives a little bit more urge with this new rule that like you have to be so close to have a chance. It's not like, okay, we can try to come back from like 30 late third quarter, early, fourth quarter because it's the, obviously the Kobe 24. So I do like that because I think it gives teams more urgency to kind of stay competitive early and kind of keep it close and not get run out of the building early. But yeah, like it's just I watched the final 5 minutes when I saw it get close and okay. So that's it. Like I don't watch any. The only one I really watch is MLB because there's nothing else on. But like
there's nothing else on the MLB. The problem with the baseball All-Star game, it's another really boring game because it's all pitchers, and now the game means nothing. Doesn't mean home field advantage. I mean, I don't think that game should have meant home field advantage anyways. But that's just a bore because it's a pitcher's duel.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why it's just tough to get all of them. I don't think I've watched a Pro Bowl in like a decade. NHL I don't really watch much of the All-Star game. So I watched like the final 5 minutes of that because it's an entertaining ending. Again, I wish it's all every All-Star, besides baseball. I just wish there's some defense played. I know nobody wants to foul each other, but it's just unwatchable. But as you mentioned, it's all just entertainment purpose. That's all.
Yeah, they really should just instead of playing the games now, just honor them. They're not going to give up All-Star weekend, but just honor them as All-Stars. Just say they're All-Stars. Do they really maybe just even have these maybe just have the competitions and not even play the game anymore? Because the game is just so none of these games are entertaining or exciting. But that will never happen because they're never going to give up the money.
No, yeah, absolutely not. It's like because I'm like I know because it's like them and then baseball actually NHL too knows it's only but like I get like freak injuries could happen. Like I know they don't play much defense, but it's like you can try to do a crossover, you could still tear your ACL. It's like there's still a chance of you getting hurt and having to miss some time. But I kind of wish they didn't do most of them. But yeah, it's the money. They're never giving that up because it's like $1 or $2 million to get, or maybe more. But I may be mistaken on that. But yeah, they're never going to give up the money for that. That's why, unfortunately. But yeah, again, as long as the ending's good, I'll tune in for the ending. But yeah, that's about it. That's about all I'll watch out of it. I like your idea of kind of just honoring them during the weekend, but yeah, they'll never get up the money.
No, not at all. So the defending Western Conference champions have a key player that's going to be out for a little while. Chris Paul out 6 to 8 weeks with a thumb injury. I don't know. The big question is, could the Warriors overtake them? I still think they're getting the number 1 seed. I still think they are getting the number 1 seed. I think Devin Booker. Listen. I think Chris Paul is still really good, but the best player on the team is Devin Booker. And as long as Devin Booker is out there, I don't think that the Suns are going to give up that lead. I still think they're going to end up being the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. Now, do I think, even with Chris Paul, do I think they're going to win the Western Conference? No. I think the Warriors are. But I still think with Devin Booker, they're going to win the Western Conference.
Yeah, absolutely. I like, the Suns team, Chris Paul, again, what he's doing at his age, he's still up there. Again, he makes the whole team better around him. But yeah, you got Booker still, you got DeAndre Ayton still. And I think for the time being, Cameron Payne is a suitable point guard. Again, I'm not trying to compare him to Chris Paul or anything, but I think he's a suitable enough point guard to kind of handle the role here till, right around when playoffs start. Again, they have a 6.5 game lead. You have 1 game left against the Warriors. You're 1-2 against them. But like looking at their schedule, it's not too daunting either. You only have the Warriors once, you still have the Pelicans, I think once or twice. They still, I think at the end of March, they have a stretch of like the Timberwolves, Nuggets on the road, Sixers at home, Warriors at home, and at Memphis. Like that 5 game stretch is going to be difficult. But yeah, with a 6.5 game lead, I think this team's still good enough around. They have enough good pieces to not to not blow that lead. That the team's playing really well. They're so good defensively. I can't see them. Chris Paul is a great player. He's been great for ever since he stepped in the league. But yeah, I cannot see this team blowing a 6.5 game lead with, pretty much like month or just about 2 months left of the year or season.
I agree. I think with I know CP3's been great for them, but with Devin Booker, I just can't see them giving up that lead. I think they're going to have home court advantage in the West, but as I said, I don't think they win the West. Still think the Warriors are the favorite in the West. If Clay and Steph can get going, they're on. There's no one that's going to. I think there's no one's going to beat them in that conference.
Yeah, it's very possible. Again, the Warriors have been so up and down since they came back. I know they've kind of, they were playing well to begin February. Not, to go in the All-Star break, they lost 4 or 5. But again, I could not believe they blew that game to the Knicks. That was a surprising one. The way the Knicks have been playing. I know they played like the Nuggets and Clippers. Like, yeah, if the Warrior team can get going, they're the most dangerous team in that conference and maybe even in the entire league. Especially they got some. They built a really good team around. With Jordan Poole's been really good. Obviously they I know they missed Draymond Green and James Wiseman, as the top pick. But yeah, Jonathan Kuminga has been playing better since he's kind of had to insert himself till he got inserted in the lineup. So yeah, I think this Warrior team's got enough around them. I think they're gonna be a tough out. And yeah, that I think it's probably, I do think though if the Warriors can get it going with Steph and Clay, I think they're very close to they're a very tough team to stop.
Absolutely. So the next story we'll talk about is Zion has not talked to CJ McCollum since he has joined the Pelicans. And I think Zion, you got to talk to your own teammates. I think Zion's trying to angle to get out of New Orleans. I think the family's not happy with him being there. I think he's angling to get out of there and go somewhere else. I just don't think this relationship between Zion and the Pelicans is lasting.
No, it's not. They really haven't even gave like a Zion update in a while. Like it was like right around Christmas. It was supposed to be there'll be another update at the end of January. I unless I missed it, I don't think I've seen another update from Zion. About Zion since. Like I don't know what. Again, I know the foot problem. Again, it's a weight problem. It's a horrible look for a teammate. Very interesting that they asked the question, but smart on that. Good for them. But again, it's a horrible look. I know it was like June. They kind of said he wanted to kind of get out of there, or the family did. Again, he's got all the talent in the world. He just has not played, and when he's played, he's been good. It's like I don't know why he won't give that team. Again, I don't think that team, even with Zion's a title contender, but give it a shot at least. You got a good player. At least they're trying to help you. At least acknowledge it. Again, Duke big man. Again, another Duke big man right now. Really showing the league. I know it's very early, but he's looking like he's a another Duke bust. I don't think he will. If he can ever get healthy, but it's just we haven't seen him enough in the first couple of years in the league after everyone took the college basketball world by storm, and we just has not played much in the NBA.
Oh yeah, I remember when he came out. I was a Knicks fan. I was hoping they'd win the lottery so they would get him. But John Morant has proven to be clearly a better player just because he's able to shoot threes, able to do more. Zion's great at getting to the basket, but the problem is he doesn't shoot threes and he can't stay healthy. And your best ability is availability. And Zion just hasn't been available for this team. So I'm not saying he's a bust yet, but his lack of availability has really, really hurt him so far in his career.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of we talk about that too. Like, what would a team give up for Zion? I know the potential's there, but it's like you can't stay healthy. Like, do you really give up your entire future to kind of have this guy on your team? Like that's the thing I think could be tough. Like, could it end it up to like another situation, maybe like, with the Sixers and Ben Simmons, like you may not get the offer you want, type thing. Because I can't imagine the Pelicans are going to be asking a lot for this guy. But yeah, you can't stay healthy. Who's really going to want you? Who's good? Because it's going to be multiple first round picks and probably not a top, but like probably a good to young kind of, can I get it got some potential to kind of be like a star. So I just, I don't really see this. I don't see any team right now really giving him up until Zion can play a string of games where he's healthy. But again, especially at this point, we're almost in March. It doesn't even sound like he's ramping up anytime soon. It's like, I don't think he's going to play this year. It's another wasted year. So, yeah, I think it could be bad for the Pelicans if you may not get what you want for this guy if you do try to end up trading him.
Yeah, I remember back when the Pelicans drafted him, we're thinking, him and AD being together for a while. Then AD gets traded to the Lakers, and then now Zion can't stay healthy. So just still with the Pelicans, man, it's just the franchise just can't get things turned around. I mean, Brandon Ingram's good, but he's not turning your franchise around.
No, absolutely not. He's a good player, but yeah, he's not. Again, especially in the Western Conference, when you got a Booker and the Splash Brothers and Curry Thompson, obviously you still got LeBron in there. Brandon Ingram's not going to be able to carry you by himself. He's a good player, and he's really kind of stepped up his game since leaving Los Angeles. But yeah, CJ McCollum's a good shooter, but his numbers have kind of dropped off a little bit shooting percentage wise. Last couple of years. But yeah, Zion and AD was supposed to be a big thing. Again, AD, one of the best centers out there. Again, when he's healthy, and then bringing in Zion again, that was going to be something. Bringing back the paint. Big. Pelicans are going to be great in the paint. Yeah, they traded him to LA. They traded him to the Lakers, and AD goes to the Lakers. Yeah, it just hasn't. And the Pelicans. Just another kind of failed kind of opportunity here to try to change the culture since, for a while. And it's unfortunate. They've had some stars they've gotten some stars and they just, haven't been just been unhappy or they just haven't been able to do enough around that guy. And it's unfortunate that they just have not been able to do it down there.
Yeah, exactly. It just isn't happening down in New Orleans. It just isn't. And they got to hope that they could, hopefully maybe get Zion back and get him to want to play there. But at this point, it's not looking good for the Pelicans. But we'll wrap up talking about the Saturday night game this week between the Nets and the Bucks. I think this game will be fun with Durant and Kyrie. Oh no, I think Durant's still out, so it'll be Kyrie Irving against the Bucks, and I think the Bucks win it by double digits. Simmons is back for the game?
I think it's still another couple weeks away.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so I think it'll be a game that the Bucks win pretty handy. I think they win it by double digits. I mean, Kyrie's good, but he really isn't good enough to carry a team to carry a team in a game against a team like the Bucks. And going forward, I think the Bucks have the better chance to win the East. I mean, I think the Nets are one of the four top. Even though they're the 8th seed, I think they're one of the top 4 teams in the East because of Kevin Durant. With the Sixers, with the Heat, and with the Bucks, but I think the Bucks win this game. I think the Bucks win this game. I think the Bucks have the better chance of making a run just because they got Giannis. Their chemistry is better. The thing about the Nets is you don't know about this vaccination rule if Kyrie's going to be able to play in home games. The Bucks with Giannis and with Middleton, with Bobby Portis, with Drew Holiday. That team's going to be together. So that's why I think the Bucks, the defending champions, have a better chance to make a run in the East than the Nets do.
I have the Bucks as well in this game Saturday. Yeah. Durant does not look. CBS Sports says he's out at least until February 28th. So maybe next weekend they'll get Kevin Durant back. But yeah, it sounds like Simmons is another couple weeks away. It sounded like the target date was at Philly, which I don't. If he's battling with a mental health thing, I don't think that was going to be. That's not the best spot to put Ben Simmons in his first game. But I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, I think the Bucks win this game. Yeah, Giannis, with Giannis out there, Chris Middleton, without KD, I know they signed Goran Dragic, again, veteran point guard, but yeah, could help the Nets, in this one. But yeah, I know you got Kyrie. He's gonna probably be available in this game. But yeah. I think the Bucks right now are the better team. I think they got the more pieces around them. I think right now what they have on the floor, I think it's gonna be better what the Nets can bring out there. But for the better shot to win the East, I'm gonna go with the Nets. If this vaccination thing kind of clears up, Kyrie can play at home. Kevin Durant almost single-handedly beat the Bucks last year. You could say if his foot was an inch smaller, that's a 3, and they win the series. they could have Kyrie back. I think Gordon Dragic is a guy that played a lot of postseason basketball. So obviously he's no Kyrie Irving, but again, I think he could make Kevin Durant, Kevin Durant better out there. Like a Joe Harris, I think he could make guys better out there if he can come back. I know it's early March, but I think Gordon Dragic could make guys better if you don't have Kyrie available at home games. Again, there's so much more pressure on the Nets too. The Bucks kind of won last year. They got over the hump. I think if the Nets are healthy and they have their guys, the Nets should have beat them last year, and they were very banged up. I think this is the year the Nets will get them. I don't mind the Gordon Dragic pickup either for Brooklyn. I think that's a nice addition. To have him at home games too when you don't have Kyrie for the time being, I think he can make some guys around this team a little bit better as well. So I know he's not the same guy as he was the last few years, but I think he's a serviceable pickup as well.
I disagree. I think even with Kyrie, I think it's the Bucks because I don't trust Kyrie Irving. He holds teammates back. He doesn't make guys better around them. Giannis is much better at making guys better around him. Yes. I mean, yeah, they do have KD, and he can make the guys better around. But I feel like Kyrie is going to want to be Kyrie and want to be the reason why they win instead of being, second to Kevin Durant. That's why I don't trust the Nets. I don't trust Kyrie Irving. That's why I still think the Bucks have a better chance of getting to the finals than the Nets, even if they lift the vaccination mandate and Kyrie can play in home games.
Yeah, I know. And this is about Kyrie and the trust and kind of all the issues that Kyrie wants to be the man. And yeah, I think that's something that could back to haunt him. And, I think pointing guys, because he's not great at making guys better around him. But I think with Simmons and Gordon Dragic now, don't you think he's probably gonna play some more off ball too? I think now, he's probably gonna want to play the point guard still, but I think for the team, I think it's better if he plays off ball and they try to get him some open looks with some screens. Again, I don't know what Kyrie's plans are going to be because I imagine he's going to want to play some point guard. But I would think I'd play him. Even though when he's at the ball, he's got some great handles and some great moves. He's one of the best in the sport. But if he's playing all ball, I think it makes that team even better. But to your point, yes, I could see him running point and just one-on-one basketball, trying to make plays himself, making some bad shots and take him out of game. I could totally see it. I could totally see that happen. The Bucks knocking him off, but I do think I think Steve Nash is smart enough to try to convince Kyrie. I think that's a very hard task to do, to play some more off ball and be able to kind of get some open looks off of screens and all that. I think that is a smarter option than that. I see the Nets going to do that. Whenever they kind of get healthy or for the playoff run. I see them doing stuff like that. I think that makes the team better, that whole team better. Then you got a guy like Joe Harris that if Kyrie's hitting open shots, you can't slack off a guy like Joe Harris either. So, or Steph Curry. Again, he's not his brother, but he's still a very good shooter. So I think with all the guys around him, they're healthy. I think that team could be very tough to beat. I know the problem too is defensively, but if they're on and they're healthy, they could pretty much outscore anybody in the entire league.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. It should be interesting to see what ends up happening with the Nets, especially inserting Simmons in the lineup. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For our producer, Jace Garcia, who did a great job, and for Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week talking about the NFL Combine, and Justin's going to love this, Coach K's final game at Cameron Indoor. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is his availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach of college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees are even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. You're the Yankees.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts. And including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting ClovercrestMedia.com.